Mommispace, a place where you can remember who you are in the midst of it all. This podcast gives moms of all stages a voice to share their experiences and the truth that there is no right way to mom. Welcome back to Mommispace. This is Bree, and today I'm here with Ashlee Sourapas. Welcome.
Hi.
Ashlee is a friend of mine. I've known you for a long time, actually. A mutual friend of another friend of ours, and we've done even some music stuff together. And she was the one who actually made my placenta pills. So if any of you are looking for that, it was such a blessing and turned out to be a really amazing thing for me. But if you're ever looking into that stuff and you're in the OC area, check her out. But I'm excited to talk to you today because when you made those for me, you weren't pregnant yet, but now you have your first baby girl. And I'm just so excited to hear your story. And I know it wasn't all that you wanted it to be, but I kind of like that there's so many differences in each story. So yeah, we'll dive into that. But before we kind of get to that place, would you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your family, where you're located, and what daily life looks like for you guys right now?
Absolutely. So, one of the questions is, what is the legacy I want to leave behind? And placenta is apparently going to be part of my legacy. Well, my mom, which is just awesome.
That's
I
so
mean,
great.
I'll take it, right?
Yeah.
So I live with my husband, Ryan, and then Juniper, who we call Junie Joy, because her middle name is Joy, and she is the light of the world. And our pup, Mabel, in Old Town Orange, California, which is the cutest little town. We
So cute.
have a great little house that we rent, and we're happy as can be in our little happy home. Daily life looks like waking up in the morning and taking care of my girl. And I am a training midwife and should be finishing up this coming in April.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I know.
Wow.
It's been a long time coming. So finishing up school every day is part of my daily life process. And then I help to run a amazing Momma tribe. It's called Mindful Momma Tribe. Yes. And that has just been an amazing, wonderful thing that's come from the birth of my daughter. And then we do, we work and educate about essential oils, and we do placenta encapsulation, and we spend our day together. I'm holding her. Amazing. That's why I'm talking in mommy voice.
Yes. I love it. And
I
love all the little baby sounds too. So I was literally just listening to another podcast today, and there's like a baby in the background. I'm like, I love when people leave that stuff in there. It's just so like personal and sweet.
It's the real.
Yes. Which you are very good at doing real, I have noticed, and I so appreciate. But so
thank you.
Let's kind of dive in. Yes. Would you share just, as much or as little as you want, the story of your journey into motherhood?
Yeah. So it's funny because I was thinking about it in the last podcast that we did together. You asked me when we were going to have kids, and I was like, not anytime soon. And I'm not sure how much longer it was after that, maybe a year.
Yeah.
But I used to always ask Ryan, because not all women feel this way, but I think that you can relate, and you're like, you look forward to the day that you're going to have your babies. And so I would ask my husband, okay, so when do you want to have kids? And he'd always say, not yet. And I'd say, okay. And then I'd go back and do my work, right? Like I'd do my life and do my music and do my midwifery and all those fun things. And then I'd come back to him again, when do you want to start our family? And he'd say, not yet. But one day I asked him, and he said, I'm ready when you are.
No way.
And I was like, what?
That's so crazy.
Oh shit. I don't know if I'm ready. So I had to do some deep examining of like, okay, am I ready to be a mother? Am I willing to let go of, I mean, this life that I have, that I've built for myself, that is independent and on the go? I mean, home birth midwives don't get, a scheduled, structured life. We are on the go a lot. We're doing home visits. We're getting called at all hours of the night, going to births. There's not like a ton of structure. That's one of the things I've been trying to implement in our family unit. So and then all that free time, even though there's not a ton of free time when you're a student and working, but to me, it's still a sacrifice, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I spent the next 2 weeks or so examining my heart and really diving in and asking myself if I was ready, and beginning to process that journey from maiden to mother, and like working into releasing that. And then I was listening to another podcast that I love called the Free Birth Podcast. And a few girls were on it talking about spirit babies. And I was like, I want to know more about this. And so I started diving in, and they talked about how our babies are waiting for us, and they're waiting for when we're ready. And so I started asking my babies to come when they were ready, and to prepare me. I was asking to be prepared and to be taught on my journey to becoming a mother. And so I wasn't really hearing anything like specific. I waited a couple of weeks and was just like, I'm not hearing anything. Maybe I don't have kids in my future. Maybe that's actually it. And but then I had gone through a couple of really intense experiences with some of our clients, all of our clients are actually our friends. So it's hard to call them clients, but our friend clients. We had one whose husband was terminally ill from cancer, and I had another friend who was terminally ill from cancer. And I just was like needing to process and go find just some support and some healing for those experiences for myself, because we walked one of them to the other side, and kind of acted as death midwives in the process. So it was pretty intense, pretty wild, and really amazing at the same hands. Really, like, you become very in tune with, the line between life and death.
Oh, yeah.
And so, especially when we do birth, so we would go from the hospital with him on his deathbed and then run to the birth the next day. It was just a really crazy juxtaposition of life and leaving. So, anyways, I decided to go to a Reiki healer lady, and she was incredible. And she didn't know me. She didn't know anything about me. I got referred from a client. And I went there and I laid down. She does like a little bit of like, Reiki is like tender touch and connection and energy and healing. And it's really powerful. So she doesn't know anything about me, Brie. And the first thing she says to me, she's like, are you, and I was going for healing, right? She goes, do you have a partner? And I said, yeah, I'm married to my husband, Ryan. And she said, okay, are you guys trying to get pregnant? And I said, well, that's funny that you ask, because 2 weeks ago, we opened ourselves up to the possibility. And she said, oh, well, you need to go home and make love tonight. You have a baby that's been waiting to come for 2 years. They've just been waiting for you to be ready.
Oh, my word. Wow.
And so that was the beginning for us of our journey into becoming parents. Ryan called me and was like, I want to hear everything about it. And I was like, I can't talk to you right now. I need to journal and process this first. And then he's like, well, just tell me something. And I was like, she said we're supposed to make a baby. And he's like, what? He's like, you're crazy. And I was like, I told you I have to get off the phone. Don't make me say it now. I need to be composed. Yes. So sorry if there's noise. Junie's grabbing the headphones. You're totally fine. So, anyways, I processed, I journaled, and I just had these like insane epiphanies and realizations about my life, about the flow of my life, about my family, and the foundation that I was coming from my own childhood, you really start to examine all of those things, right? And start to examine your own raising and your own, I have a very intense beginning that wasn't the structure that, a platonic family looks like. And so I had a lot of things to work through with that. And it was just a really amazing process. So I came home and we sat in the backyard together in our garden and we talked about the future. I read him my journal so that I could share with him. Oh my gosh, can you hear her pooping?
No. Oh my
I feel like the
gosh.
microphone will probably pick it up.
That's like, I'm not gonna lie, that's like one of my favorite things. It's like
She's pooping and laughing.
Get it, Junie.
Get it, Junie girl.
Get it.
So anyways, we talked about it. I read him my journal and read him all the things that I had processed, and we sat in the backyard and cried together and said, okay, like we open ourselves up to this new journey. And so we, that night we went out to dinner as like a celebration dinner, like our last, like, okay, this is the beginning. And we didn't know what it was going to look like. I was like, I don't know what this is going to even look like. But, I said to my husband that night, okay, I invite you to make a baby with me if you're ready.
Oh
and he said, okay.
How beautiful.
And so it was really beautiful. It was really awesome. And then that was kind of the beginning. And it took 4 months before we got pregnant, which is nothing compared to most people, especially I help lots of mamas who struggle with infertility, and I have friends who struggle with infertility. So in light of that, I feel extremely, extremely blessed to have been able to get pregnant so quickly. But when you're going through it, the torture and agony of waiting and wondering and getting your period when you were hoping for it to be a positive pregnancy sign, and instead your flow comes, like, it was just a really insane process for me of like processing and releasing and leaning in and letting it come. And then we found out we were pregnant on Ryan's birthday. So
oh my
that
gosh,
was
how
a really
special.
really special way to find out. Yeah.
Wow.
So
that is so cool. Wow. So kind of, would you catch us up to speed now? Like, was it, especially you being a doula and training to become a midwife, like, what was that process like then going through the pregnancy and then the birth and now postpartum? Like, how has that been for you?
It's been really interesting because I was so sick in the beginning of this pregnancy. It took me until probably about 20 weeks to really get rid of how sick I was. I think going into any future pregnancies, my plan is to do some kind of cleansing of my like liver and colon and all of that to kind of clean out my systems and see if that helps for next one. For the physical side. But in the emotional side, I was very nervous. I'd seen so many people lose babies, and I, have walked so many people through their journeys that I had my own. It's amazing that, like, to filter out everybody else's experiences and just have your own was really challenging for me. Oh my gosh,
I can't imagine.
Really challenging for me. So I had some spotting in the first trimester and was really afraid that we were going to lose the baby. And Lindsay, who is my teacher, my dear friend, and my partner in midwifery, she always sent me back to my intuition. She said, I don't think that you need an ultrasound. I don't think that you need these things. You need to go back and go into your inner knowing. And so I remember like lying on the couch and connecting and asking the baby, asking Junie, which is so fun. Are you still there? Are you ectopic, or are you, is there a problem? Is there anything that is a problem? And then in my deep inner knowing, when I really let the spin of my mind calm down, I would finally hear, I'm okay. Wow. We're okay. Wow. And so that was really, really beautiful. And the whole pregnancy was a big lesson for me, and birth, especially, in releasing control, and that we have no control over anything in life. But especially in that, and leaning into, the journey instead of trying to control it. So, and then once I wasn't sick anymore, it was amazing. It was so special. I was so happy to be pregnant. I was loving my growing bump. Everyone had a million comments to say about how huge my baby is going to be. And she was 7 pounds, 13 ounces. How huge I was. Did I have twins?
No
I
way.
was fat. I was huge. Like, I can't even tell you all of the comments. I'm like, next
Oh,
pregnancy, I'm not going to take these personally. I really like had a hard time in the
yes.
beginning worrying about image and my body and the changes. And now on the outside, you're like, it's the most miraculous
Oh
thing
my
you could ever
gosh.
go through. So
Yeah.
that's the last thing that you should worry about. Your body will
Yeah.
always come back.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. And then my birth was a wild and crazy journey, which I'm blogging about.
Yes.
I shared the first post this morning,
Okay.
or last night, I guess. And then I will be sharing the rest of the story
Okay.
as it comes. But as I
Yay.
said, I'm a home birth midwife, and I ended up with a C-section. And it is something that I am still processing. It was traumatic, as you know, trauma is subjective.
Yeah.
It's, you know, what is traumatic to one person might not be traumatic to another person.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it depends on the person. It depends on their history. It depends on their background, all of those things, right? So for me, my home birth transfer cesarean was pretty traumatic and pretty
Yeah.
devastating. So I've been working through that and accepting that, and just processing all the levels of grief from losing that dream that I had for so many years of working in the birth world and supporting so many women.
Wow. Wow. Okay, cool. So then we'll attach your blog so people can kind of read through that. Ashlee is a really wonderful writer. So you'll wanna go read up on that, I'm sure. I've been so touched by what you've had to share already. So yeah, that's amazing.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so from this place of you, okay, so now you're in the full swing of motherhood, and you're saying, you said you're still going through school stuff,
All
right?
four
Like,
months.
oh, it counts 100%. So what are some of the things that you've done to like to maintain connecting to yourself, to your heart, and pouring into those passions of yours, like with midwifery and being a doula? Like, how has that been for you? Like, what's your process been?
Um, so the first few months were just crazy insane. Um, and then now that we've got a rhythm and a flow going, my husband helped me to temper any anxiety that I was having about balancing all the things.
Mm.
Um, and we talked about priorities and what the order of operation is for priorities in my life. And so we said, Junie is always first, right? Junie and me, we're always first. Self-care and Junie. And then after that is school. And after that, hi, sweet girl. And then
Oh,
after that is everything else.
yeah.
She loves to talk. Whenever
Oh,
I'm
love
talking, she loves
it.
to
I love it. She's
join
just
in the
giving,
conversation.
yes. Oh, cutie. Oh my gosh.
So, the way that I'm trying to learn how to balance right now is by starting my day with a meditation. A lot of mothers get into adrenal fatigue. It's something that pretty much if you're postpartum, you've experienced some level of adrenal fatigue,
Yes. Yes.
because you are up at all hours, you're going through it. Just one second. Daddy's
Get it.
coming.
Oh.
So adrenal fatigue is something that I am either hoping to avoid or am just
Yeah.
working towards supporting,
Okay.
especially as I was working births at all hours too. Adrenal fatigue happens with midwives especially. So I try to go to bed at a normal hour unless I'm writing because I don't get any time to myself unless she naps on me right now. There's no breaks. There's no alone time with me.
Oh man.
Except for around 9 p.m. she goes to bed and she will let
Yeah.
me put her down then. So that is my mommy time. But usually by 9:30 is my goal to go to bed.
Nice.
And then I wake up in the morning, and usually if I get up early enough, like around like 6 or so, 6:30, I will get a good hour to an hour and a half of alone time. And that is my me time. That is my find balance, find my level for the day. So I tried to listen to a Louise Hay meditation. She has an amazing morning meditation that I
Nice.
listen to. Yeah, I make myself a cup of tea. I shower if
Yeah.
necessary. Um, and then I will sit and just enjoy my tea. I'll practice some deep breathing, some meditation, really trying to set myself up for a day that is intentional and that I am not starting wired and hit the ground running. I'm focusing and presenting myself like at a good base. So that's how I keep my balance. Otherwise, I am learning that I can't do all things, right? So I go back to that. What's the priority? If Junie's awake, Junie's the priority. If she's napping, then school is the priority. When she's,
Yeah.
as much as I can, I run the businesses of, the wellness business and the all those other things and the Momma tribe. So
Yes.
just a few things.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I love that. I love the whole idea of like, hey, we got to make sure our priorities are straight here, otherwise we'll get worn out and not be able to like give back or give to ourselves and everything. So I love even just your practical kind of tips that have worked for you. I think that is so important, and I think that will help other people too in their beginning journeys of
Yeah.
motherhood. Yeah, and even speaking to the adrenal fatigue, I haven't even thought about that. Like you hear a lot about like postpartum like depression or anxiety, but hello, the fatigue is real. I don't know if that probably fits in with the
It all
anxiety and
marries.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, I mean, would you even share a couple more tips like that we could work on, like mamas that are kind of in that space right now too, like practical things to kind of work on helping that even?
Absolutely. So we were actually just had a Mindful Mama Tribe meetup about this.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
and a naturopath came and spoke to us about it, and
Oh,
it was really
lovely.
awesome. So the things that we recommend doing are to get enough sleep, because we're already
Okay.
sleep deprived as it is, right? So the idea is, oh, we should be up and be running, and when the baby's asleep, like I do when I write, I have to use this time. But
Yeah.
if it's not like a productive hour, then it's not really. You're just kind of numbingly staring at your
Right.
phone, right? Or
Right.
is anybody else do that? Or is that just me?
Hello, yes. At least
Or
once a
you're
day.
watching, Office episodes.
Yeah.
And really, while The Office is hilarious and can give you a good giggle and make you feel a little happy and distracted, it's not going to be as beneficial to you as sleep is. Sleep is like a very important factor in your day.
Okay.
So going to bed at a normal hour, trying to eliminate screen time, and then when you're awake, like you said, like I said before, about having like a good amount of time in the morning or the evening to have downtime and to unwind, to have tea, to meditate, to practice deep breathing. And then the basics of like having snacks, like every couple of hours, eating something, not going hypoglycemic. As mothers, we run around. I do it all the time. And I forget that I haven't eaten today. I
Yeah.
forget I haven't had one sip of water all day. And our bodies need food and drink. Like the basics are vital to our makeup. So remembering to also nourish yourself with good foods, having snacks in your bag, like a Lara bar is a really great one, or those little nut packs, so that you never are going hungry
That's
and never
good.
getting hypoglycemic.
Yes. Those are great.
Um,
Yes.
yeah. And then there's like other herbs and oils and all kinds of
Oh,
things that help
yeah.
support your system too. So those are really important.
Okay. And you mentioned something. Are you like selling oils too? Are you doing, I don't know how all of that works, but if people are interested in that kind of stuff, like could they reach out to you and ask more questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So I
Okay.
don't like to say I sell oils, because
Well,
I'm
sure.
not your Avon
I'm
lady.
sorry. I don't do that.
That's
I'm
just,
not, I
no,
didn't do the
no,
work.
no. No, I'm telling you so that everyone knows, because
Okay.
my goal is to educate, because
Yes. Okay.
we all have things that we experience in our bodies, right? So
Yeah.
my goal is to empower and educate you guys
That's good.
as
That's
best
good.
as I can, right? My clients, whoever comes to me and say,
Yes.
"Hey, like, are you having A, B, and C happen? Are you feeling this way?" Well, your body is asking for something. It's
Mm.
asking for support. And so what are the ways that you can get that support? And so
Okay.
we just work together. I try to teach people how to find,
That's so
their
good.
means of support for themselves. So, and I offer recommendations all the time of different supplements and herbs and oils that
Okay.
are beneficial for supporting your system. But
So
yeah, my
good.
goal is education. And then you
I
guys,
love it.
sign up your own account and
Okay.
do it that
Okay.
way. But then you know how to support yourself. And then people all the time text me, "Okay, wait, how do I do this again?"
Yeah.
And I'm like this. And
I
then
have
they
been
end
one
up
of
going and
those.
teaching others.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
so
but it's
good. I've texted you. I mean, even in the beginning, it was so nice to like have you, I don't know, even just available. Like I texted you, I think sometimes like late at night, like, "Hey, is this
yeah,
normal?" Or "What do I do for this?" And so yeah, that support is huge. So okay,
it's
cool.
absolutely the most important element. I know
Yes.
one of the questions was, what would I recommend to mamas? And I know I'm jumping ahead, but back
No,
to
go
the
for it.
postpartum
Yeah.
adrenal fatigue thing is
Yes.
that a community is vital.
Mm.
Like, you will survive, but you will survive on the hair of your chinny chin
Mm.
without support. And back in cultures, of yesteryear, we had support. We had mamas and aunties and grandmas and
Mm.
um, like a rich tribe of women that took care of each other. Like, we would see each other give birth. We would watch each other
Mm-hmm.
breastfeed. We would have these hidden medicinal things, right? Like, I'm not selling. I'm being the healer in the tribe that people come to and say, "Hey, what do I do for this?" And we had that unit. We had those
Mm.
things in our tribe long, like centuries ago. And
Yeah.
so um, it's so vital for every mama to find her tribe,
That's
to
so
find
good.
people who are real and honest and raw
Yeah.
and speak the truth. That's why, you said that I keep it real. And that is
Yes.
one of my biggest goals, is to keep it real, because we can all look like we have our stuff together, but really when it
Yeah.
comes down to it, we all just need each other. And
Yeah.
one of the things that in my postpartum that was the most mind blowing to me was that I was going through just the roughest postpartum. It was so
Mm.
hard recovering from the C-section. And then we had so many different things with breastfeeding. We had tongue tie and
Oh.
torticollis and Raynaud's and thrush. Like, it just was, I call it the
Yeah.
underworld. Like, I was in the
Oh my
underworld
gosh.
and I was like, when does this end?
Oh
And my
man.
mind was blown. I was
Oh.
blown away that women go through the underworld, and it
Mm.
doesn't seem like anybody. I mean, Brie, I was doing it for 8 years and I'm like, I
Yeah.
knew you guys went through it, but like, this is like way different than the
Wow.
way you guys talk about it.
Wow.
And so I would reach out and say, like, I just did this really stupid thing, or I um, am really struggling with this. And probably like 5 to 10 other mamas would say, "Oh, girl, me too. You want to hear my story?"
Yeah.
And I would be like, you brilliant,
Oh.
like, wise, beautiful woman, you had this too? Like, I never knew that. How did you make it look
Oh.
so easy?
Yeah.
And so now when I pop my boob out and I'm breastfeeding my baby with one arm and I'm walking and doing 10 things and talking on the phone and,
Yeah.
whatever, now I try to always go back and say, from new mamas, like, this is not reality yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is not,
Yes,
I
that's so
started,
good.
I started with my best friend and my water by my side and a basket full of
Yes.
snacks and lots and lots of tears and heartache and trials. And,
Mm.
that is why we need our tribe. We need our women. We need each
Mm.
other. And so that's why we started the Mama Tribe, was so that
That's
we
so
could have
good.
that support for all of the women in our community that came to me or came to Lindsay, or,
Yeah.
we just wanted to bring everyone together and have like a big group together of
Oh, wow.
just one big tribe.
I love that. Now, where can we find that? Is that like on Instagram? Do we like if somebody's interested in this kind of thing, like what how do we find it and get involved?
Absolutely. So it's just Mindful Mom
Okay.
on Instagram. I
Okay.
think there's an underscore in there. You can go on my Instagram too.
Okay.
Um, and we post all of our classes. We have a weekly, it's not even a class, it's just like a weekly meetup. We call them Momma meetups.
Okay.
And everyone hosts them. So they're at different people's houses. And we have different people in the community that we love and that we learn from come and speak.
Okay.
So you could be at any place in your experience. You could be, preconception, you could be pregnant, you could be newly postpartum, you could have a 5-year-old. That's Mabel.
Oh, Mabel. Cutie.
You could be at any place in your postpartum journey. A lot of mamas are like, oh, I can come. And I'm like, yes, girl. Like, this isn't just like newborn mama tribe. This is our tribe. This is our community. Come and be there and find your people and, learn together. Like, we're all learning together and we're all sharing together. And it's powerful. Yes. It's really powerful.
Oh,
so it's
cool.
Currently mostly in Orange County where I'm at, but we've started the tribes in LA. So there's a tribe in West Hollywood, and then there's one starting in Portland. There's one in Arizona.
How cool is
We
that?
are trying to get one started. I have a few girls in England that I've been talking to them about it and seeing,
nice.
Yeah. So the goal is to take the model and to spread it. Like, this isn't just like our copyright, like, oh, we own this. Like, no, every meetup is free. Like, we just want people to have something that replicates easily and is like duplicable where it goes, and the people have a home. So,
oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay, cool. Well, I'll definitely like add the links in the show notes so people can look into that and get involved. That just sounds so amazing. And something that kind of struck me while you were sharing earlier, just even about the practical things to help with adrenal fatigue and everything, is just like how we as mothers kind of go back to this very, like, we have to go back to the most simple forms of like survival in a lot of ways. Like, we're in a sense, like, kind of almost mirroring our babies in some ways, like just focusing on the very essential things. But we don't often allow ourselves to do that. Sometimes it's hard not to do that, or to make space for that. So I think it's so important, like you were saying, to have that community that you can connect with and that can remind you, like, hey, you're doing okay. Like, this is normal or whatever, to be able to ask questions and stuff. So that's so powerful. I'm so glad that we can share that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to be seen and to be supported it's vital to our well-being and to also staving off adrenal fatigue, and having community support, even hands-on. Like, I had friends come over and clean my toilet. I had friends come over and do my laundry. I had friends come over. I had a month's worth of a meal train.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah. And we wouldn't, like, people have said, oh, you would have survived. And I'm like, girl, I would have gone crazy. Like, I could not. Like, I needed that. I needed to be able to let go of all of the responsibilities and just be with my baby and figure out life together, because our start was so rocky. And so, opening yourself up to having that kind of community is almost just as hard as it is to, to find it. It's mostly are you also opening yourself to it? Are you seeing it? Are you looking for it? Are you inviting it in? There's this culture of, a power struggle between women, and really the power is so much greater if it's a power together instead of a power against each other. So
that's so good. I love that. Okay, so have you experienced mom guilt so far? And if so, what are some things that you do to overcome it?
Mom guilt is real. It is real, and it is real intense. Yes, I had one experience that I shared on my blog during my breastfeeding journey, that I burnt my baby's mouth in a very big way with a natural thrush remedy that I didn't dilute, because I was in a nap haze from my adrenal fatigue.
Oh, man.
So, I cried about that every day, all day for a good solid week, and felt incredibly guilty. And, even down to the simplest form of not being present enough for her. Like, am I on my phone too much, or am I working too much? Am I focusing on school too much? Like, we try to be and do all things, and it's hard to find balance. So mom guilt is real and it's heavy.
Yeah.
I think the thing that I always go back to, and that one of my best friends and I have talked about, is we're always present and we're always trying. It's not perfection, but it is that we are showing up every day, and we are recognizing our weaknesses, acknowledging them, and then pressing forward, and continuing to be as present as we possibly can. So I don't know.
That's powerful.
Something I'm only 4 months in, Bria. I don't have
Yeah,
all the
I
wisdoms.
know.
I just
I
have
know. Yeah, but you also have
I,
the 8 years of like learning about this stuff. And like, I know
true.
it's totally different once you're in it. Like, everybody's experience is different, but I do want to honor the fact that you have learned a lot already on this journey.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So, legacy, you mentioned at the beginning, besides being a placenta pill goddess, what is the legacy you want to leave for your kids?
I wrote a couple notes because I
Yay.
feel like this is such a heavy question, and I feel like I now I want to create like a written down that I can always go back to and see, am I honoring this? Is this what I'm sustaining within my family? So you've inspired me
Oh, that's good.
to keep this going.
Nice. Okay.
So this is the very bare bones that I will work on creating my legacy. But I want to teach my children more than anything, and leave behind for my family more than anything, leaving them better than I had, right? So my mom always says, I'm better than my mom, you're better than me, and your daughter will be better than you, because we are each building on the foundation of each other and growing on the foundation of each other. So I have worked really hard over, 32 years of my life to be at a good place and a base in my life that I can be as good of a mother as I possibly can. That was a big deal for me. So my goal is to teach my children how to tap into the intuitive and to follow the spirit always, so that they can journey through their lives without fighting, and learn how to enter into the flow of how life leads you, instead of working against it and fighting against it. Because when you walk in the flow, it's so much easier and so much more incredible and heartbreaking all at once. But the heartbreak also leads to the incredible. So teaching them how to tap into that. I want to teach them how to have a culture of kindness, and just have culture in general. Know that they're, simple orange California white privilege bubble is not just all that they should know, that there is more beyond that. And then, I don't know, just all kinds of things: deep love, healing strength, humble strength, speaking and seeking the truth always. Those are a couple of things.
Wow,
And then
that's so
tons of
good.
money, right? Like
Yeah,
tons of
yeah.
money is going to come flow
Not
into
to
our
mention.
life, and then that's just going to be like thrown on. But we won't tell them about it. We'll just teach them all the humility first.
Yeah, exactly. They'd be like, when you die, like, by the way, you're filthy rich.
P.S.
Yeah, that's so good. And I love you just talking about writing it out, having it in plain sight, and like reminding yourself. Like, I think that is a huge way to like help us stay present too. It's like, because it's a why, right? Like, it's our why.
Yeah.
Why are we making them the priority? Why are we, obviously, like, there's a lot more that goes into that. But I
No,
think
but
that's so
that
powerful.
has been my month's thing with everything that I'm doing is why. Like, what is my why? Why am I doing midwifery? Why am I recommending all these things? Why have I always done it? Who am I from that why?
That's really powerful. Okay, well, we're wrapping it up here, and I like to end with some fun questions. So the first would be, is there a favorite product for yourself or for Junie that you would recommend to other mamas?
Yes. So for pregnancy, I'm just going to throw this in there because it touches on the community aspect. There's a book called The Fourth Trimester by Kimberly Ann Johnson.
Okay.
That book, every woman needs to have a copy of it. I've shared it a couple of times on my Instagram story.
Awesome.
Everyone needs to read it. It gives you really good guidelines and helps you break down some things in your heart and your mind, and then gives you good construct for how to build community around you in the postpartum period. So that is vital.
Okay.
And then for my life, I wear my baby all day, every day. She will not nap except on me. And so my Solly baby wrap is a go-to for us. And then for
Sweet.
teething, which we entered into
Yes.
at 2 months, it is gnarly.
Oh.
Copaiba, the oil
Oh, okay.
Copaiba
Yes, yes, yes.
is, yep. I rub that
Okay.
on her gums. I rub that on her jawline. That is
Wow.
crucial.
Oh man, I wish I would
Yeah.
have known about. We entered at 2 months too, and yeah, I wish I would have known about that. We'll still
It,
have more coming up soon, so I'll
yes,
have to
you
check that
will.
out.
Copaiba and some lavender in your life.
Yes. Okay, cool. Awesome. And then, do you have a favorite holiday tradition that you want to, like maybe that you've started with your husband and that you want to continue with your family as you grow?
That's a good question. We used to go away on Thanksgiving for the
Mm.
first few years that we were dating because his family didn't really do anything, and
Mm.
my family kind of does stuff, but not really. So we started going on a trip for Thanksgiving and would celebrate our own Thanksgiving and talk about what we were grateful for and
Oh,
just be present in the
fun.
surroundings that we were. We usually go to Central Coast, which is just
Oh,
my favorite, you
oh,
know.
yes.
So that I think I'd like to continue that, as we go forward, that we have a family that's intentionally celebrating Thanksgiving, and then
Mm,
birthdays, same thing.
that's awesome.
Getting out of the area.
Yes. Okay, cool. And then the last thing, you've already given so much beautiful advice, but like one piece of advice you give to a new mom.
Oh man, I gave so many. Find
I
your tribe.
know. Okay, yeah, that's
Find your
good.
tribe and love yourself.
Mm,
Be gracious to yourself. Whatever grace that you would extend to someone else. We are
mm.
so hard on ourselves,
I
and the graciousness to yourself goes a long way.
know. So good. Oh, Ashlee, thank you so much for doing this and taking the time out of your busy schedule and to do this and to share your heart. I'm so, so grateful and so excited to share this with the Mommispace tribe.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's interview. Please share this with a friend if it impacted you in any way, and leave a review on iTunes so other mamas can hear the truth that they are enough and they are doing their very best. Be sure to catch up on what's happening in the Mommispace community every day on Instagram at Mommispace. And you can email me at mommispace@gmail.com for questions or interview recommendations. All my love to you, Mama. You're amazing. See you next week. Just to say that I'm